of success that we're all trying to climb, I don't think no one ever really gets to the top because there's always someone bigger and better than you. They let you down, so you got to keep it moving. Or what? You're gonna cry your eyes and go and work in Tesco's or something?
Welcome to Insport, the talk show. My name is Marion Asantifojo, and today we are recording episode 5 on entrepreneurship, the journey to financial freedom. With me, I have my wonderful guest, and I would like him to introduce himself.
Hi, and thank you for having me. My name is Sam Addo. I'm an independent filmmaker. I'm originally from Ghana. I'm based, and I was also born in London. I currently live in East London. Thank you for having me on the show.
Pleasure. Okay, so going straight into today's topic, how would you define entrepreneurship in your own terms?
So to me, entrepreneurship is when you take on multiple roles and attempt to run multiple businesses and try and make it work. You know, if you was just a doctor or just a lawyer, you're not an entrepreneur, in my humble opinion. However, if you are a graphic designer who's also trying to run a personal trainer business, or in my case, I run a mixed media company, so I make content for people, I make content for myself, I run mentorship schemes, and I also teach, and I'm also heavily involved in the music business, so I try my best to make all of those different facets work. And it's never easy, it's always ever ongoing. People assume you're rich, but often you're very broke trying to go for it because you're always taking a gamble on yourself. So to me, entrepreneurship is finding a passion, in some cases more than one, and doing everything you can to keep these different goals alive and afloat.
Perfect. So would you say that there is any line to be drawn between an entrepreneur and a businessman, or is it the same thing?
They're just, in theory, they're like two different disciplines, in my humble opinion. I think being a businessman, there's some traditional guidelines and some traditional ways of doing things. Entrepreneurship, I feel, in my case, you throw away the guidebook, the rule book, and you do what you have to do. You know, all within keeping above the law, obviously. But, you know, that's my path. So I wouldn't consider myself a businessman. I'm absolutely an entrepreneur.
Good. So I'm just going to go into the dictionary meaning of what an entrepreneur is. So it's a person who sets up a business. So they use the term business. All businesses, so it could be multiple, as you said earlier. So you can take on financial risk in the hope of profit.
Absolutely.
What is your take on what's been said? Do you agree with that, the issue with profits?
It's in line with, you know, what you've just said, but it's also 2019, so there's multiple ways to look at things. There's not just one way. That little definition there is on point, but there's various other ways to explain it.
Okay, so you did mention that obviously you're involved in businesses and also mentorships, and obviously in the film industry. So do you want to give us like a little background story? Essentially,
at the age of 17, I knew I wanted to do something in the film and TV industry, so I took it upon myself to just do as much as I could. So I was a runner, I was a camera assistant, I just tried all the different areas and stumbled across the fact that filmmaking, directing, producing was something I very much wanted to do. So I spent many years developing the craft and ensuring that it was something I actually loved, because I knew it was not something you could easily support yourself with. After a few years of hard work and focus, I ended up at the BBC, and then I moved on, and the rest is history. I'm here running a small mixed media company, and you know, it's a struggle, but you know, if you love what you do, you know, you can't really see it as work, you know.
So would you say that there were any form of pressures or sort of like setbacks, you know, for you to get into the field that you're working in now, or was it smooth?
Well, it's never smooth. I mean, I think you know the answer to that question. Being from African parents, they want you to be happy and safe and secure. So when I'm telling my mum and dad, I'm going to make films, I'm going to make TV programs, they're looking at me like I'm crazy and insane. But I took some gambles on myself, and when they saw me working at the BBC and stuff, they could start to see that it was working, you know. But it's been completely hard because, you know, I'm currently seen as a freelancer. I don't work for none of these channels. I work for and with them as and when I can. So no, I wouldn't. Anyone wanting to go into the realms of being a freelancer or an entrepreneur, I would strongly advise them to think long and hard before they embark on such a journey, because it's not simple. It's loads and loads of long hours, loads of work for very little reward in the beginning. But you have to understand, if you own the business, even when you make the big bucks, as they say, it's kind of yours, as opposed to working for a big company and you getting a small crumb. So I've always been about ownership. I've always been a leader. I've always been a maverick, and all about trailblazing. I've never been a follower. I've always led. So it's in my spirit to create, execute, and deliver, or sell, and that's what I try and do. Yeah, you can take that. You can write that down.
I like that spirit. So you're just saying, obviously, for you to overcome all these struggles that or setbacks before you got into the field, you knew where you wanted to go. You had a passion. You had fire burning.
Let me correct you. There was no such thing as overcoming it before you begin it. There's always going to be hurdles. You're always going to have a crash from beginning till the end, which is sort of never ending, because you're always in it, right? You just have to be able to take the knocks and get up, dust yourself down, and keep it moving. You might think you're going to sign a big contract with a company, and it goes wrong, and they choose somebody else. You might employ someone you think's trustworthy, and they let you down. So you got to keep it moving. Or what? You're going to cry your eyes and go and work in Tesco's or something? There's nothing wrong with working in Tesco's, but that's just not my path, man. You know what I'm saying? Not my path.
Right, okay, so going back to capital, yeah, because obviously a lot of people say you need some sort of money to start any sort of business or entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
What is your take on that?
I'm not the biggest fan of loans, but I understand why. More often than not, you're forced to take on loans if you are a small company, if your ideas and concepts are not the most simplest of things. When I started my business, I utilized, before I spent one penny, I utilized everything I could, everything that I had. Don't spend nothing unless you really have to. And if you really do need the loans, then it's wise to go and get them. You just got to be sensible on who you get the loans from, whether it's friends, whether it's the bank. Just be sure that the arrangement is the kind that you can live with. You don't want to fall out of friends if you borrow money. If it's an associate you borrowed money from, you want to be able to be sure that you can pay that back. If it's a bank, you want to be sure that you can do those repayments. And if you're in doubt, it's probably best not to do that. You can break up friendships and you could get a bad reputation. But I'm not going to advise people to not go for loans. I'm not also going to say to people don't take the gamble, because for me the best person to take a gamble on is yourself. So that's what you have to do.
Thank you for this. So going back to forming your actual team, the entrepreneurship team, did you start by yourself, or you had a few people that you thought worked with?
Let me give you some clarification. I don't have an entrepreneurship team at all. I run a small mixed media company, and as a personal choice, for I would say at least 10 years, every year I take on 3 boys and 3 girls from different cultural backgrounds and just different backgrounds in general. Some have had trouble with police, some are just really talented young people in the creative field. So it's more internships. So you effectively take young people. It's not even about young people anymore, from my perspective. It doesn't matter about your age. It's just people who are engaged and interested in the art, film, music, TV, etc. Take them on board, have them under my wing or as part of my team, so that you can get real life experience. Because there's nothing better than real life experience. You actually can't get a job really without experience. But then you don't get a job, you can't get experience without the job. So where's that opportunity? Is through internships. So not entrepreneurships. So I don't do that. I am an entrepreneur, but just for your viewers not to be confused, I can and I have done over the years. I do what is called internship programs, where we pay, not a massive amount, but we still pay individuals to come on board. They work with us on film shoots, video shoots, music projects, just to give them experience.
So what you're saying to me is, obviously, even though you're out there obviously to drive your passion out and obviously make some profits, you also believe in a community spirit and actually giving back to community. Is that
absolutely? I mean, that's the kind of man I am anyway. It's about reaching one, teaching one. We have to. The youth are the future, and how are they going to learn unless they have leaders and people that are trying to try and help guide them?
Perfect. Right. So just going straight into your networks. How did you build your networks? I mean, working for BBC is like, wow, how did you get there? Like, what is the secret?
I don't think there's such a thing as a secret. It's really hard work. One, my network is simple. From the age of 17, everyone I've ever met, I've took all of their details and kept a good file. So I really have a database of over 10,000 people around the world, from different sectors of the world. BBC, I was in my early teens and I was making really awful, terrible music videos for no money, and they all look crap. And I think one duo were in the right place at the right time. They got some kind of record deal, and some of my content helped them do this. So it put me on the radar. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. I'm pretty certain the BBC found me in the late 90s. This is before the internet really blew up, and I believe they I'm pretty sure they wanted to see me at first really to make up numbers for the diversity quota. But I ended up having 3 or 4 interviews there were 3 posts for promo director. These are people that make trailers within BBC, the advert for BBC. I think like 3,000 people, 2,000 people went for those roles. They picked 4 of us out, and thankfully I was one of those 4 people. So there's no true blueprint to how to get a job at the BBC or something. I think you have to work your butt off. You have to be good and have faith, and you definitely have to have a bit of luck. Like, there's always a bit of luck with all of this stuff, in my humble opinion.
Thank you. I mean, I did do some research on you, and so I did see that you've worked for Channel U. Do you want to touch on that? I mean, what did you do? What was your role?
So, I'd worked at BBC from the early noughties to 2003 or 4. I'd left. My experience there wasn't great. Financially, it was exceptional, but just as a black man in the creative field, with one of the biggest TV stations in Europe, it was horrible. My experience was horrible. I'm sure things have changed. It's 2019.
Is that at BBC?
No, at the BBC, my experience was not a great one. So I left BBC. I became a little bit disillusioned. I assumed there's no place for a black guy in film and TV. You're never going to have a voice. And I worked in H&M, I believe, for a few months, and realised, what am I doing? I want to know if film and TV is my biggest love, right? So I think I got headhunted to film behind the scenes at Afro Hair and Beauty, and done some bits for Mobile Awards and little bits and bobs like that. And I got a break. A friend of a friend did a concert, and Kanye West happened to be doing his first ever UK performance there, and I happened to be the one person with decent content from it. So it really gave me loads of attention. And I also earned this name of, oh, that's the black guy that used to work at BBC. So that followed me around for a few years. And so I effectively got headhunted. Like the guy, God bless his soul, Darren, who used to run Channel U, he's passed away now. He tracked me down. I believe Channel U were in the middle of doing some kind of poetry special, and someone had come and filmed it badly, squandered the money, and Channel U knew that I did all my stuff on a very low budget, so they had a meeting with me, asked if I can come in and effectively save the day, and I did, because I'm good. And I ended up having a job there. I was meant to be there maybe 6 months. I was there for 2 years. I developed some programs there. I was fortunate to have my own small little team. I developed a team there, and it gave me lots of confidence, and it helped me build a really big database, mostly of the UK scene, most of which are now all the Tiny Tempers and stuff, the Wileys of this world. They're all rich and wealthy now. I remember somehow being involved in having their videos on air or something back in the day. So that's my experience at Channel U. I was already very busy trying to make a name for myself as a director and producer. And I had this TV show called No Bling, which was like a no-frills TV show. It was on Ben TV, a little-known Nigerian station. And I'd done a poetry special. And at the same time, Channel U was supporting UK. No Bling was all about supporting UK. And I guess it made sense to them. This guy is doing what we're doing, but without our resources. So we need him on our team. So that was a blessing. I got a sensible.
Okay, so how do you stay humble? Because I mean, it looks like you've gone through so much. You've met great people. You've achieved beyond means. How do you stay humble? Is it easy to stay humble once you're there?
I mean, look, it's foundation, isn't it? It's your upbringing and all the rest of it. I mean, wherever I am, I'm representing my children, I'm representing my family, so I'm gonna relax and regarding some of my projects, I represent my team. So, and I'm just happen to be a mild-mannered boy from East London. So, I'd like to think I'm not this arrogant idiot. I also represent my people, my race. So, there's people out there that like to call themselves the N-word. Yeah. I'm a king out here. I represent kings. You understand? I'm on a positive thing here. So, I don't know if it's about how being conscious of being humble. It's about trying to do good work. It's about trying to help other people, and to understand that on this imaginary ladder of success that we're all trying to climb, I don't think no one ever really gets to the top, because there's always someone bigger and better than you. So on the way up, I've always helped as many people as I can, knowing I'm going to get toppled. And on the way down, if you've been an arrogant idiot, no one's going to help you back up. But the more people you've helped up, what are they going to do? Tell me. They will pull you up too. So that's why I like to treat people how I want to be treated. I like to under-promise and over-deliver on everything. I like to try, and that's, I can't speak for no one else, but that's who I am, and that's what I'm about.
Thanks for that. So let's go into training and qualifications. Is there any particular trainings that you sort of went through to get to where you are, or was it just your passion and the gifting that's helped you?
I have a BA Honours in Audiovisual Communication, which is a fancy long name for film and TV production. I have a BTEC National in Film and Media. I have a BTEC First in Film and Media, and countless small little courses.
Yeah.
I mean, degrees, all the rest of that stuff, MVQs, A-levels, no one can ever take that away from you, granted. But the world has changed, and I think the education system should change with it. So, if you look at your phone, this phone, if you go and look at this type of phone 15, 20 years ago, it was very different. Would you agree? So, but if you take a picture of any classroom today and look at a picture of a classroom from the 60s, nothing's changed. I actually believe the system needs an overhaul. I believe most children should probably be homeschooled and speak to Google or something. I don't know. After the systems have been updated to another level, but training, education is imperative. It's important, but I think that I've learned the most while being on the job. For me, but everyone learns differently. Everyone, gets impacted differently. So maybe people want to sit in a room being spoken to for 6 hours, or they want to watch a video, or they want to go and be practical. Yeah. I'm a kind of person that I'm not going to learn quite easily just reading and reading. I need to do it physically. So it's an individualistic thing, in my opinion.
And the reason why I'm asking this is, like, these days you get a lot of parents, especially from the African background, that wants their children to actually go to university. They might clearly have a gifting or talent that might not require them to actually go through that training. What do you say to these parents? Because you are a father yourself.
I think it's almost like an outdated piece of mentality. Yes, it comes from the 50s, 60s and 70s. Our parents have come here, they've worked hard. They definitely did not want their hard work to just be squandered with their child becoming a bricklayer, which is still a very good job. They wanted to ensure, if I've studied, if I've worked hard, if I've saved my money to come here and to buy a house, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a doctor, so you can look after me, right? So their children can look after them. But things have changed. You know what I mean? You've got to do what you love. And our parents have had their lives. I mean that with the greatest respect, Mum. You know what I mean? But the truth, at the end of the day, we all have to live our lives. I've got goals and dreams for my children, but they've got to live their lives, right? So as parents, in my opinion, we're supposed to support them. But maybe in our parents' generation, they supported us, but they told us what we're doing. So I know friends who are doctors and lawyers, and their lives are secure, but they're not happy. They're living the life their parents chose for them. So it's about this generation. Do we want happy kids or secure kids? I want both. And I think to have both, you have to talk to your children, not tell them what they're doing.
Let's talk about now your projects that you're working on, because I have seen that you've got a new movie out. Do you want to talk about it?
Did you see that film?
I have. Of course.
What's my film called?
Of course. Cards on the table.
When do you think you'll get a chance to see it?
When are we ready taking it to the cinema?
Well, unfortunately for you, she's trying it. Unfortunately for you, my film was not in the cinema. It was at the cinema at its private screening. I didn't know you then. It's only available to buy and stream online.
Okay.
So I'll ask the question again. When are you going to see my movie?
Tonight.
Are you a woman of your word? Because I'll ring you in the morning.
Tonight.
Fine.
All
Fantastic.
Right. Talk us through it.
Okay, so this is my moment to plug
It's
stuff.
your moment.
My moment to shine. Hi guys, so my feature film is called Cards on the Table. It's an independent feature film. It's about 4 lifelong friends and their failures and their victories in life. This is a passion project. This is an independent movie. The film has no guns in it. Has no one uses the N-word in this movie. No one gets called the B-word in this movie. There are no references to guns. And that was a personal choice because in my humble opinion, films from our community generally don't show a lot of different sides to our community. So me and my team decided, let's make something that is just like a human tale, something that's quite a naturalistic type of story. And I hope when you see it, you see where we're coming from.
Thank you for that. So how do we find you on social media?
So you can find out more about what myself and my company does at shadowgroup.com. So that's www.shadowgroup.com. Shadow is spelled with 2 D's. And then my personal Instagram is the number 7, ADDO, which is A for Apple, D for Delta, O for October. And if you want to stay up to date with my debut feature film, go to the Instagram and stay updated. And the Instagram right there is COT Film. So just follow COT Film, which is COTT Film. COT stands for Card on the Table, in case you didn't know. And for those who ain't seen the film yet, you gotta go to www.cotfilm.com. That's the only place in the world you can stream my film. You gotta pay for it though. You gotta buy the film. Ain't nothing free in this world. Okay? Yeah? Not everyday Netflix, yeah? Not everyday Amazon. Sometimes support the smaller guys, yeah? Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for this. So your final words to anyone aspiring to be an entrepreneur?
There's no more time for excuses, yeah? Social media has made things a bit easier, cameras are cheaper, and YouTube teaches you everything. You get yourself a bowl of jollof rice or something and learn how to edit, learn how to mix, learn how to film, yeah? There's no excuses. The world is your oyster. Just stay focused and stay true to yourself, yeah? And have faith. Peace. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Until then, guys, bye.
And I'm hoping this lady will take me to get some jollof rice now.